Hello students, today's class we are going to see about Indian historians and historiography. So you might be know about the historiography. It means historical writing. It is a written document and records. So let me see about what are the objectives of Indian historians. So first it's a changing of the nature and historical trends in the post 6th century AD. The development of writing of biographical works. You know about the biographical works, one who wrote about someone. So that time, one person, the author or historians, they might write the stories of kings and dynasty and even the record. An example of the Herodotus is the hero of the historical writing. So that's why he called as the father of history. So the survey of Harsha Charitra of Panapata as a historical work, it described the growth, content and characteristic features of chronicle writings in India. You might be know the chronicle writing is the dynasty was ruled by this ruler and it was successes and the failures. So that was the chronological orders as well as the historical works, one who have the date and time. It also has some chronological record. That's why it called as the proto-histories. And discuss the content and historics and characteristics of values. For example, the Raja Tarangani, the kings of Kashmir kings. That was the thing. The Raja Tarangani was wrote by Kalhana. It was the genuine historical works in ancient India. So they explain the role of biographical as well as the chronicle writings as a historical tradition in ancient India. So let me have the introduction about this Indian historiography as well as the historians who contributed the ancient, medieval as well as the modern historiography. So let me know about the historical biography in the true sense of the words deal with the life, characters, deeds of historical personality and royal personage and eminent king, great ruler or empire who occupies an important place of the history in particular nation or the region. It has so much of facts in the fictions. So let me know about the ancient India. What was the Kalhana's Rajatarangani? So that was the important work that was wrote during the ancient time. So Rajatarangani is the chronicle of history of kings in Kashmir. By Kalhana was the historian of this Rajatarangani book. It was distinguished Kashmiri historians of the 12th century AD, and it has so much of values about the court as well as the chronicle and the reign of the work, as well as it has the available evidence that beginning with this work, and it was started the work of 1148 and it was completed the work of 1150. His Rajatarangani became the most famous of all ancient chronicles of Kashmir. So the Kalhana was the gifted with all qualities of true historians. Let me have this highest place among the ancient historians of India. So what are the sources? History means is based full upon the evidence and investigation as well as the sources. So sources of this chronicles of this period, they collected from the oral traditions and the folklore and ballads. That was one of the important primary source for to record the ancient history, as well as they collected the list of kings and composed the ode of the work. Who graced the court of King Ananda Deva, the work, it is also known as the king of Kashmir. So according to this, it was wrote by the list of 5 princes from Ashoka to Abhimanyu out of 52 in this list. In addition to the chronicles, he consulted also the Puranic records, which is Neela Purana of Neela Muni. That is also one of the important sources that was collected. It also have some listed with the Puranic stories also. So what are the features of this Kalhana is the royal charters, edicts. As edicts means is something inscriptions that was stored and records of land grants and the contemporary documents, coins, inscriptions and other archaeological evidence. With the help of this, correct errors according to the earlier works. He himself brought down this, Kalhana also brought about this recording grinds and temples and other monuments, as well as the written records, and as well as the serious historians. Nowadays, the present researchers also have so many doubts related with the Rajatarangani's work. They have changed with the it is all, some of the historians tells about it was a biased one, and some of the historians have so many positive things that was collected in the Kalhana's period in the ancient time. It was a great work that was did by these things, as well as the trends and what are the trends and nature of historiography in India during the Sultanate period. So we cross upon the ancient period. Let me know about Sultanate period. That was the medieval period was started after the Arab conquest was started. So Sultan being the ruler and the dynasty was Delhi Sultanate. So that time, what are the works that was familiar with the Muslims historians? In ancient India, there were no fixed and specific method that were followed regarding the preservation and completions of this historical events, and we also preserve through the oral system. This system helps the preserves religious rules as well as the regulations and restrictions and other social changes. It is also have the permanent system of preservation. So preservation and conservation is important work for the ancient time and medieval time. So those preservation and conservation, we used this type of historical records and data to be presented this dynastic rules in India. So that was very much important in that time. So during the Sultanate period in 1206 to 1526, why they specified this year and date is 1206, the Delhi Sultanate was being established after the slave dynasty, as well as 1526, that was the Lodi dynasty that been failed with the Babur. So the Babur founded Mughal dynasty. The Mughal dynasty is also ruled over 400 years. So after the English, so it was being very much important. This was the period. So the royal court was filled up with the presence of historians, writers, philosophers, thinkers, politicians, orators, poets, and other scholars of the time. And the Indian historians did not fully follow Arabs and Persians, but they introduced a new trend in their research in accordance with Indian local perspectives and reality of the time. So that was the one thing that Muslim conquerors conveyed the traditional historiography with the cultural heritage of Arabs, Turkish, and Persians towards the Indian subcontinent. So let me know about the Alberni. Alberni period is something related with Muslims dynasty. So that time he wrote so many books related with liberal as well as he interested in science. And then Abu Rayyan was being accused of this Al-Hind. Al-Hind was a great work by this Alberni. The Al-Hind was something related with analytical mind and comprehensions, and drawn with actually the person Alberni used with some scientific technology. So they may have this study of mathematics. So in this time he as came as a traveler. So he traveling was always regarded as a part of education in Islam. So that was the main thing. The Al-Hind was published in India at the time. He wrote extensively and accurately about the geography of India. He estimated the India's extended from the force of Lower Kashmir to the Deccan Peninsula and to the real dimension of the subcontinent. As well as he said that eastern and western Ghats controlled the distributions of rainfall in peninsular India. He also provided the detailed information about the rivers of sources and collect the information from the Indus, as well as the information about their rivers is limited to the location. So he exactly found out the geography and physical features of India at the time, based on the knowledge derived from the ancient books, etc. So he also attracted by the Indian culture, and he learned Sanskrit and studied several books concerning the Hindu philosophy and culture. His curious mind and master eyes did not spare even these Puranas and Bhagavad Gita. And he traveled far and wide, wrote a masterly account of India in his Tagi-i-Hind. That was the important book that was being he wrote about the Muslim to the Delhi Sultanate period. So Al Hind and Tagi I Hind and then Hibit ul Hind, that was the important book that was he was wrote, and he traveled widely in Punjab and parts of northern India, and also collected the information from the Hind ul Hind and then Alberni and Arabic, as well as he divided into 80 chapters on the subject as a religion and the philosophy, festivals and astronomy, manners and customs and social lives, and weights and measures of the coin, iconography, laws and meteorology. So many things that was inherent with the travel of this uh, Hind of this book. The Alberni adapted the distinctive structures in the each chapters, and beginning with the questions, following this up with the description based on Sanskrit traditions, and concluding the chapter with the comparison of the other culture.